Hello everyone, I am CoolGuy, welcome back, and we're going to go over this week at Bungie on May 23rd, 2019. Before we jump into it, we do have an update from Luke Smith in regards with the world first Crown of Sorrow raid. He opens up by saying, building the Vault of Glass in 2013 with the notion that our raids would launch at competition around the world for world first in Destiny was only a dream. Saying it's been an incredible multi-year run, the bosses have fallen off ledges, sword bearers have been clutch, giant foes have created jaw-dropping moments, and the list goes on and on. With Crown of Sorrows, we hope to add more memories to your time in Destiny raids. But here's the main part. The world's first race is when our players test the metal in the raid for the first time. With Opulence, we wanted to try something different and make the raid available day one in an effort to make the raid race more fair and competitive. However, our best laid plans have turned into multi-week, cross-seasonal powerful reward storage completion. While we love seeing players find clever ways of leveraging game mechanics, we want to take a step back and look at what's going to be best for the player experience, for those competing, and for those watching. So they do have some changes on how they're doing World's First with Season of Opulence, and they're testing out a new mode called Contest, or Contest. When Raid of Sorrow goes live on June 4th at 4 p.m, here's what we should expect. Players will face an enforced challenge throughout the raid. This means power beyond certain levels will provide no advantages for a given fight. For the first fight, all power above 700 won't provide an advantage. And for the final fight, power above 720 will not provide advantages. The update deploys at 8 a.m, the game will be down until 10 a.m. Pacific, so that as many players as possible can get through the download and verification step to be ready for Opulence's launch. After the 24-hour period ends, we will disable Contest and restore the power raid relationship to its usual functionality. Then players will be able to leverage their power to overcome the raid's challenges. If the experiment goes well, we can imagine future raids launching with this active, but first we want to see how this one plays out. We'll be watching you and cheering you guys on. Thanks, see you soon, Luke Smith. I think that's really cool because the average person isn't really stacking up bounties, and day one raids, I'm always severely underleveled. I'm like, man, how are they getting through it? I'm like, well, they're 30 light levels above me. So I'm very interested to see how this works out. It could be really good for day one raids. What do you guys think? And then we get into the This Week at Bungie, and this is by Deej. So this week, after last week's This Week at Bungie, we had a lot of players upset with all the nerfs. So we have two higher profile Bungie employees blogging this week. It starts off by saying that the Drifter will return to his role as your Gambit hype man, and Benedict9940 is about to become your source for brand new secrets and rewards. And then they start listing them off. They start off with the Power Surge. Instead of a set of bounties, a new Power Surge quest will be your jumping off point for Season of Opulence. You will need to complete this quest to access the new raid. So it's very important to know that. They say, learning from the Season of the Forge, this quest must be completed only once per account. And oh my, thank you for that. After one character completes the quest, alternate characters will be rewarded with the Surge gear at power level 690. Gambit bounties. We didn't want rewards from the Drifter to be one of the more primary sources of power following his run as the central character for Season of the Drifter. As a result, power boost received from Gambit bounties will decrease once you've achieved 700 power. They will decrease even further once you've reached 720 power. Prime attunements. On day one, Prime attunements will be reset to 2 charges for each player. You'll receive 2 new Prime attunements even if you were playing right up to reset. We want you to be able to play your favorite character without it impacting your power level strategy. Then as a follow-up to where we started the video, the Crown of Sorrow raid begins on day 1 Season of Opulence at 4 p.m. Pacific. Players who want to complete it will need to complete the Power Surge quest. We've taken additional steps to level the playing field for the World First status. And again, all players will be capped at power under each encounter within the raid for the first 24 hours only. And the goals with the cap is progression that challenges raiders to climb to compete for World's First, a World's First race that tests your skill, communication, and strategy, and a World's First raid that is fair. We have some Eververse updates. With Season of Opulence, we're making some changes to the Eververse store. We had 2 main goals for changes that we're making in Eververse and Season of Opulence. Every Eververse item in Season of Opulence will be available for direct purchase via Silver or Bright Dust. Most of these offers will be time limited, with new items available weekly. For Season of Opulence, the Bright Ingrams that you get will contain a collection of community favorites of legacy items, with a focus on the best of Year 1. That's awesome. They've also changed the interface. Specific items are now featured on the front page and will be cycled each weekly reset. You know, it's kind of got an Apex Legends Fortnite vibe to it, and I kind of dig that. Most offers will be time limited to make way for rotating inventory, with some coming back in rotation at a later date. Players can access this new interface by visiting tests in our usual tower location. And then they start talking about wrapped items and refunds. Individual items purchased for silver will now go to the relevant character inventory location in a wrapped state. As an example, a Sparrow purchased directly for silver will arrive wrapped in a Sparrow inventory. To use an item, it must be opened just like a bundle, and once opened, that item functions and can be accessed normally. If you wish to refund an item, you will have 7 days from the purchase to do so. Items that have been opened cannot be refunded. and all these changes go live day 1 of Season of Opulence. We also get some information from the player support team. Crown of Sorrow Raid Day 1 preparations. As soon as the Season of Opulence kicks off on June 4th, the world's first race of Crown of Sorrow will begin. Players will not be able to access the Crown of Sorrow Raid if they have yet to complete the Season of Opulence Power Surge quest, and that's even after the raid unlocks at 4 PM Pacific. This applies to all members of a fire team. Players who join in progress during Crown of Sorrow Raid's first encounter will spawn in dead outside of the encounter space. To mitigate this issue, all fire team members must join up in orbit prior to launching Crown of Sorrow Raid activity. So here's a big one, seasonal weapon drops. After Season of the Drifter concludes on June 4th, the following weapons will be unavailable to unlock at the respective vendors. An issue was discovered late in development and we're working on a fix for a future patch. The Service Revolver and Last Perdition. Players who have already unlocked these Year 2 variants will continue to receive them as random drops from rank up packages. Players who don't unlock these by the June 4th deadline will be able to acquire the weapons once they're addressed in a future update. It's worth noting that pursuit rewards such as Recluse, Oxygen, and 21% Delirium will continue to be available. And with closing, they tease a little bit. They say there's going to be some game changers you'll discover with Season of Opulence when it begins. But we have even more to show you guys next week. We're already working on a preview of the new Pinnacle weapons. We'll now turn our attention to revealing the places that you'll go and the reasons that you'll fight. Right now, our focus is on Opulence, but after the season has launched and the raid belts have been awarded, we'll be looking deeper into the future and sharing with you more about a new era for Bungie and Destiny 2. Buckle up and stay tuned. Deej out. Alright, so here's the deal. Here's my opinion on all of it. There were some highlights in this, especially the day 1 changes, but we just had a whole bunch of fan favorite weapons get nerfed last week. And before that, honestly, they did it out of order. What they should have done is 2 weeks ago, they should have said, hey, we're nerfing these weapons, then put out the Outbreak quest to kind of get people back up. But again, it was just down, down, down. And yes, even though next week the Pinnacle weapons are going to be talked about, and the big speculation is what's in store after Season of Opulence. But in reality, they followed up last week's very downer of a TWAB and said, hey, here's how we're changing our microtransactions. Like, I understand where they're coming from, and usually Bungie's very secretive and they do the rollouts planned, such as next week we'll see the Pinnacle weapons and then we'll get a Vidoc, whatever it is. But for this week at Bungie Today, I wanted a little bit more than that, maybe talk about some buffs or something like that. But I know I've been following them for a long time, that's just how they do things. They roll out right up to right before launch, they get everybody hyped. And even though it is a couple weeks away, we're still not there yet. And really that's what I'm most interested in. I'm going to play this season, I'm going to play the new raid, I'm going to go for the new Pinnacle weapons, I'm going to play Destiny just like I always have. But the big speculation is they split from Activision, and here's what I think. They talk about a new era for Bungie and Destiny 2. That could be a segue into Destiny 3, we don't know yet. The big rumor is that it's going to become more of an MMORPG type deal, and I think whatever comes next was the original plan for Destiny. I know that they made that deal with Activision, and when you do that with big publishers, there's a team that comes in that cuts up content, at least from everything I've seen and heard, and they kind of part it out. But I think Destiny had a different vision, and I think that they're now going to approach that and have it come to fruition. Or at least that's what I hope. But that's going to be it for me. Now's your time. What do you guys think about this week at Bungie this week? If you're new to the channel, remember to hit the subscribe button, like and comment if you guys see fit. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.
Two for one. Your enemy can't kill if they're dead. 6th front, the Twilight Gap where Lord Shax earned his name. None fell more guardians than you. Zone B lost. Shut the enemy down. Three minutes left. You captured Zone B. You have zone advantage. Zone C lost. Strength in numbers, Guardian. Excellent. Zone C captured. You have zone advantage. Don't see lost.